Hi guys! I love this episode so much. But before I get into my review, if you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Erkenci episode, say what I liked, what I noticed, and predict what might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, subscribe to my channel and we will meet on a weekly basis. And now to my review. In this episode we had three storylines kind of going on. So we had the parents storyline going on, the Liam storyline, and of course the biggest one, the main one, Janam. As I've already mentioned, the last couple of episodes had some title and this one had one as well, and it was called Erkenci, so Denial Valley or Valley of Denial, whatever you want to call it. But I will talk about those valleys later in my review. So first we have Nihat dressing more daring, a floral shirt. Kind of wanted to impress Mefkebe with that, but she was so focused on her phone, what is Sanem doing, so her biggest concern are her children. Emre and Layla are sitting there. Layla sees that and is kind of hinting to Mefkebe to look at Nihat, but she's way too focused and says, well, what might be different, everything's the same, blah blah blah. So she's kind of bored, and Nihat gets hurt by that because he wanted to impress Mefkebe. And then when Mefkebe sees it, she changes and is really impressed by it, but he doesn't care anymore, and then he gets really annoyed and goes. So Layla gets a little bit angry with Mefkebe and is like, your only focus is us, so Sanem and I, and you need to take care of yourself as well. You should spend some more time with father, blah blah blah. And that kind of stays with Mefkebe. And then Mama David comes as well, compliments Nihat. Nihat looks at Mefkebe like, you see, other people see that I changed a little bit. And then Mama David says to Mefkebe that if you have children, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care of yourself. And that kind of does something with Mefkebe, because Mama David then proposes to go out shopping, that she will change Mefkebe's style and they should go to the hairdressers, blah blah blah. And Mefkebe agrees with it, so they go shopping. And while they go home, Miriban and Aziz are actually walking behind them because they were visiting Emre at his new workplace. And Miriban is looking at Mama David and is like, she didn't change at all over the years, so looks wise. And Aziz is looking, and that kind of hurt Miriban because he was analyzing Mama David, and that makes her even more sad because she's comparing herself to Mama David. But before that, I want to say that there was this cute moment between Miriban and Aziz when she was showing him how to, I don't know, take out grass or some kind of weed, and then standing up, holding it towards the sun, thanking the sun, going back down and doing this a couple of times. It was so funny. So she was making fun of Aziz. It was just so adorable. Anyways, when they're back home, she puts on a face mask and is kind of trying to make herself look better, and Aziz comes in while she is in this full-on loading mode kind of mask on, robe on, hair in a towel, and she didn't quite like that he saw her like that. As we know, Aziz is not taking it too seriously, so he walks out of the room. She stays behind and looks kind of disappointed, sad in a way. And then when she comes down, she tells him that she lived for so many years alone, so she doesn't know how to behave in front of him, and she wants to apologize for her reaction she had up there, and that she wants Aziz to forget how she looked in her room. At first he doesn't take it too seriously and is like, boop, I forgot it. But then he sees that she really meant it, and that makes him sad in a way. And that's why he goes to Mefkebe and Nihat, stays there, eats dinner there, just to give Miriban a little bit of space. And Mama David is there as well. But before Aziz appears, Mefkebe has this makeover. When she arrives with Mama David, Nihat is laughing with some ladies from the neighborhood, and she gets really jealous, and then she wants all the details from Melahat. Anyway, she gets this makeover, shows it to Nihat. He gets really scared. He's like shocked what happened to Mefkebe. She's kind of Mama David 2.0, judging from the style. And that's when Aziz comes as well. They have dinner. Nihat says that Aziz should sleep over because it's late. So he's sleeping on the couch. Mama David comes, sees him there, and then she starts kind of talking to herself, being like, why couldn't you love me? Was that so hard? apart, everything would be different if you could forget her. So in that moment I kind of felt bad for her. And I have to say, in this episode Mama David was very human. Like, I didn't really see evil Mama David in this episode, and I kind of like that because yeet is enough. Anyways, the next day Nihat and Aziz are playing backgammon. Miriban comes because she feels kind of bad, and then she tells Aziz that she came to take him where he belongs, and if he agrees they should go together. While they're having this talk, Mama David is actually spying on them, and then when Aziz says goodbye to Nihat, he sees Mama David there. Anyways, later that day Mevkebe goes to Nihat with a new outfit. Nihat asks Mevkebe how far does she want to go with that style change, because if she wants to continue, so be it, but he liked her old style way more. And Mevkebe agrees with him because she feels that it's more Mama David style. Now to the Liam storyline. So we have Nihat bringing out some musical instruments, some old toys that Layla used in her childhood, and she's really surprised that he still had all of those things. And when Liam is going to the bus, Emre says that he didn't know that Layla had this musical talent in her, and she says only one person in our family could be this artsy, more creative person, and that's Sanem. So I had to be the smarter, bigger sister. And that kind of stays with Emre. He has a very hard time working as a car seller, and that boss isn't very friendly as well. So when Aziz called Emre, his boss wasn't very amused because Emre left potential clients there looking by themselves, and that's not something the boss wanted to see. When Miriban and Aziz are visiting, Aziz tells Emre that he can come to the agency anytime, and he declines because he wants to do it his own way. He wants to take care of Layla, and that's also what he told Jan when they had this little conversation where Jan was asking once more, do you really not need the money? I can give it to you. And Emre is like, no, I can handle it myself. So you can see Emre trying to achieve things by himself, because up until now everything he had was served to him on a silver platter. The job he had in his father's agency, the lifestyle he had, it was all thanks to other people. So because he's feeling that down, he wants to cheer himself up. He goes where Layla works, wants to take her out to dinner or lunch or whatever, even has flowers, but Layla is so stressed with work that she doesn't have time to meet up with him. He sees this old lady, gives her the flowers, and the thing that she says kind of stays with him, because she says that they should live life to the fullest, blah blah blah. And he notices that Layla is way too focused on her job, that she doesn't really spend that much time with Emre anymore, and he gets kind of frustrated, and she notices it. They have a little fight. She's trying to make it up to him, but then he has this idea to quit his job and tells it to Layla. And at first she was like, why? And then he tells her that she should quit her job as well. At first she was like, no, what will we do after that? And then he asks her, what do you really want to do? And then she tells him that she would really like to sing, write songs, be a musician. And then he's like, okay, let's make you a musician, but in order for it to work you need to quit your job. And that's kind of the last push for Layla, and she says, okay, I will quit my job. Like I said in my last review, we will see Layla as a singer. And now to the main storyline, Janam. We continue this amazing scene where Jan is looking at Sanem's necklace and they're looking at each other, and then Jan kind of snaps out of it and says, well, it's cold out here, I thought you will get cold, blah blah blah. So he kind of has the same reaction as Sanem when they get caught being so lost in the other person's eyes or whatever, and he's changing topics. Then he stays a little bit with her and is asking her if this partnership will work between them, and Sanem is like, of course, why wouldn't it? And what I've noticed is that in this episode they had a lot of double meaning conversations. So the first one is he's asking her if she still has something from him. So he was talking about the ring without mentioning it, and Tanim is like, no. Then has this flashback to the bandana when he got it out of the burning heart, and she asks him, well, do you have something from me? And Jan is like, no, and then stands up and wants to go. They emphasize this ortak a lot in this episode, and it kind of reminded me of the episode where they're trying really hard to be friends. Then we see Jan watching Sanem and coming up with the plan to take the ring from her, and that scene was so adorable and so amazing. I really loved it, how he tried to open the necklace, but then she kind of turns in her sleep and grabs his finger, and I was like, oh my god, you're never getting out of here. But he manages to get out of her grip, so in the end he gets the necklace. The next day, JJ, Sanem, Muzo and Bulut are already starting the meeting for the brand and everything. Daran comes and JJ is not really feeling that well, so when Daran comes, he blooms kind of and is amazed how good Daran looks. And Sanem has the same reaction when Jan is coming. To calm her down, she puts her hand right here where the ring used to be, and then she panics because it's not there, and then the big ring search starts. And Jan is having the time of his life, enjoying Sanem desperately searching for that ring. Poor Daran is trying to be very professional, but because Sanem is looking for her ring inside the house, Jan is watching her, not really listening to what she's saying. She gets back in Daran mode where she starts screaming. Bulut is very shocked to hear and see that side of her. Muzo gets scared. JJ is already used to it, so Sanem starts searching around the meeting area, and everyone is coming up with some names for the brand, but Sanem doesn't like any of them. And one moment was so funny when she was playing with Jan's sunglasses, but the sunglasses had like magnetized lenses or something, because only the sunglass lenses were detachable or whatever you call that. Anyways, it fell down. She screams, everyone gets scared. What happened? It was just so funny. And then after that, JJ was playing with the glasses as well. It was so hilarious. Oh yeah, while Sanem is searching for the ring, Mama David is actually calling Yeet because she didn't hear anything from him in a long time. He tells her that he's not on the farm because Sanem doesn't want to see him anymore, or for a certain period of time. Mama David is very happy to hear that because she hopes that he finally gave up, and she encourages him to give up, but he's still obsessed with Sanem, so he hangs up on her saying that he has things to do. Then he gets out of the car, calls Bulut and says he wants to talk, but Bulut says, well, I can't get away from here, you should come. Yeet is like, well, I don't want to bother Sanem. And in that moment you can really see that human side, the caring side of Yeet, but it didn't last very long because Bulut is like, you're a good guy, come here. She wouldn't mind at all. And one thing that I've noticed is he had a knee brace. I don't know if I didn't notice it until now, or did he have long trousers on the whole time so we didn't see what was underneath it. I was like, oh my god, is this like a new level of trying to play the victim if Sanem sees you, or are you really in pain? But I don't think so. So anyway, Sanem doesn't like any of the name ideas they came up with, so she starts writing Jan on a piece of paper, and Jan comes up with the idea to call the brand Sanem, and he sees that Sanem was writing Jan, and he takes the pencil out of her hand, and JJ is overwhelmed with the Janam feelings, fainting. It was just so hilarious. And then he makes out of the Jan Sanem and says that in Sanem there's also Jan, and Sanem screams Janam, and Muzo comes up with the idea to put the hashtag Janam on the internet, and it was so hilarious because it was a nod towards the fans. Then we have this little talk between Aziz and Jan where Aziz is making sure that Jan made the right decision to invest in this brand, and he says, yeah, don't worry, I still have money from all the pictures that I took, and I will go and take some more pictures, but this time I won't go alone. And Aziz knew what he was referring to, so Sanem, but they're kind of saying that Jan will take Aziz with him, and it was kind of cute. Anyways, there's this dog on the farm that takes Daran's clutch, leaves it in the mud. Daran is so over this farm already, comes back, but she has mud on her cheek. While she's gone, everyone is trying to come up with the idea for an ad, and they want to portray a strong, independent woman. And when Daran comes back, Bulut calls her Cleopatra, and Sanem has this idea that Daran should play Cleopatra, and she's strong and independent, blah blah blah. Jan also also likes this idea, but Daran is having none of it. She says that she has a camera phobia, and I'm like, well, you already shot an ad before, like the 80s themed one, so I'm like, you don't have a phobia, you just don't want to play it. Anyways, Sanem is still looking for the ring. She talks to that dog that it should help her find the ring. Daran sees it and is so concerned that Sanem started talking to animals. She goes to Muzo, Dennis and JJ. They tell her that it's quite normal for Sanem to talk to animals because she did it in the past with the chickens. And then JJ has this idea to put the blame on Daran because Daran doesn't want to play Cleopatra. Sanem started talking to animals, and that kind of messes with Daran's head, so she accepts it because she cares for Sanem that much. So now they need costumes. On the way there, Sanem is talking to the voice in her head. The voice says that Jan might have the ring, and she's having this full-on conversation. Jan is like, well, what are you doing? If you want to tell me something, you can tell me. And then she tells him that she has this voice in her head that she's talking to, and then he asks what the voice is saying, and the voice is saying that, oh my god, he's so handsome, I don't know what to say anymore. And then Sanem says, well, the connection was lost because she doesn't want to say what the voice said. It was just so funny. Anyways, they have this shopping trip looking for the costumes, and they reminded me of their shopping trip they had while working through Liam's wedding list. Oh, what I forgot, Sanem was also looking for her necklace on the dock, and Jan came as well looking for her. He asks her if she needs help to look for something, maybe he can help, and she says she's still looking for something she lost a year ago. I think she was referring to their connection, their love, their relationship maybe. And then she walks away, and that's when she talks to the dog. Also, what I've noticed is when Daran told everyone that she's playing Cleopatra, if you look closely you can see Bullet still having a little bit of eyeliner, which he used during the ad. Anyways, Yeet comes, is talking a little bit with Sanem, and she notices his knee brace. Anyways, he's just asking where Bullet is. They have this whole conversation. Bullet is telling him everything that's happening with the cream, with the brand and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, Bullet, you will regret this. Telling him everything that's going on. Then Bullet says that he was amazed that Jan gave them so much money. It seems to him that he really cares for Sanem, and it is like, it looks like he impressed you. And Bullet is like, no, of course not, but it's just something that I've noticed. And then Yeet gets really angry and says that Jan is hurting everyone around him and that he's concerned for Sanem. Bullet is like, don't worry, I'm here, nobody will hurt Sanem as long as I'm here. So in that moment you can really see Yeet trying to inject some evilness into Bullet for him to see Jan in a worse light, because Yeet saw that Bullet is starting to warm up to Jan. Then we also have this Janam moment where they're looking at pictures how they should shoot this ad, and they're really close together, and once again they have a double meaning conversation. And because Sanem is so affected by Jan and him being so close, she wants to put her hand where the ring would be, and he says, did you notice that you're always putting your hand there when you're with me? And then she says, how attentive you are. And then my necklace slips, and he says, what necklace? So he's kind of pushing her to tell him the truth about the necklace. So he says, the necklace that you always hide underneath your clothes. And then they have this back and forth, and after a little pause, Sanem is like, or did you, like, she's suspecting him, but he's like, did I what? And that's when they go shopping. So all of that happened before that. Then we also see Yeet picking up a hitchhiker who had an ivy allergy, and then Yeet starts laughing, and I'm like, oh my god, please don't tell me that he's trying to put some ivy in Sanem's creams to destroy her brand. And what happens? He meets up with Cemal and is actually proposing that idea to put some ivy in Sanem's creams because some people might have an allergic reaction. Cemal is like, well, people should be scared of you, I wouldn't want to be your enemy. And Yeet has this very pleased look. So after Janam's shopping trip, they're having dinner, and Jan really knows Sanem because he asks her if she's tense because Sanem wanted to order everything, and he tells her that whenever she's tense she tends to eat a lot, and she's like, no, I changed a lot, you don't know me anymore, blah blah blah. And then the man comes with the food and she can pick whatever she wants, and she does the same thing that JJ did. She's like, this, just leave everything here. And then she tells him her idea how they should shoot the ad, blah blah blah. Then we have the preview, and now I understand how Janam actually got into John's house and why she was there, because her voice told her that John has the necklace, and of course he had it hidden somewhere in his house, and that's why she's looking through his house. But instead of finding her necklace, she actually finds the bandana, and I enjoyed every second of that scene. Anyways, we see John dressing up, wants to take the bandana, but it's gone. So now he's searching just like Janam everywhere, inside the house, outside. Janam is having the time of her life in the hammock, looking if John is actually searching for his bandana near her. And then she does the same thing that John did. When he's close to her, she's asking if he's looking for something. He's like, no. And she's like, if you want me to help you look for it, just tell me. And he's like, no, okay, good night. After that, we see John reading Janam's book, the chapter of the Valley of Denial, and then we see him playing with her necklace, her playing with his bandana, and her them being on the dock, throwing a bottle into the sea. So I really want to see them appear sometime in the future, and for John to read everything that's written in there. So anyways, the ad is happening. Everyone is in their costumes. It was just so hilarious to see JJ and Muzo being the ones to make the wind. Dennis is playing some music. Daran being Cleopatra, Bulut being Antonio or whatever his name was. Janam giving her the cream. It was just so amazing. Daran was such a diva during that shoot. She was saying, well, I want a smoothie. So Janam goes to make a smoothie. While Janam is gone, Bulut actually wants to talk to Daran and says that he sees her ambition and everything. It was just like that, but she shouldn't take everything so seriously. It's just a role that she's playing. Then we see John looking everywhere in Janam's garden for his bandana. Janam sees it, is very pleased to see him searching for it. Then she goes, makes the smoothie. John comes in, and then they have this Janam moment where he says that he wants to ask if strawberries are in the smoothie because she did it once before. And then there's this flashback to episode 3, and she's like, oh, you remember. And then John says, some things you can't forget, you value them too much, and if you lose them you go crazy. So he was talking about her ring for her and the bandana for him, and Janam understood the message he was trying to say. And then she's like, are you talking about the strawberries? So playing a little bit dumb, but he's just smiling at her and just shaking his head and going. And in that moment I think she's like, okay, he deserves to get his bandana back. So she puts it under the table mat or whatever you want to call it, like in his garden. Then they're shooting the ad. John is a perfectionist, wants to redo everything. Then everyone else gets very frustrated with John because he's only filming Janam, and it was just hilarious to watch everything unfold. Anyways, in the evening, Janam is in her living room, and then she sees the necklace on the table, and I was like, okay, John saw the bandana and so he gave her the necklace back. But then we see that only later he sees the bandana, so he did it before he finds the bandana. So she goes to the dock looking out. John comes and they're walking towards each other, and then John starts talking and says that I have something that belongs to you that I always carry with me. And Janam takes the bandana out of his pocket, and then she says that she has something from him as well that she always carries with her. And then he pulls out the necklace and is looking at it, and then they're getting closer and closer. Janam is closing her eyes, about to kiss, and what is happening is the end. And I was like, oh my god, Erkenci Kush, you can't do me like that. How am I going to survive until next week? And now to Alex's predictions for episode 46. But we did get a preview, and that preview, oh my god, it killed me. Janam is in her old bedroom. So the first questions I have, how did she get there? Why is she there? Because she says that even though she's back, she still feels uneasy, and I'm like, there are like so many question marks in my head. Anyways, there's a knock on the door, and I'm like, okay, maybe. And who appears? John. I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is too much for me. Erkenci Kush, you can't do this to me. Like, I want to see episode 46 right now. I want to know, how did Can get there? It's just like, oh my god. Anyways, Can is saying that he wants to go because he can't sleep inside. He's used to the outside, and he also can't sleep in a different place than his place. Sanem is like, well, you can sleep here if you want. And I've never seen anyone answer that quickly. He's like, okay, closes the door, goes to the bed, and even Sanem was like, oh my god, is he really coming? And then he lays down. This man is way too huge for that bed. I can't wait to watch next episode. Sanem wants to make him feel comfortable, but also saying that they need to put something in between them. Can is laying there. Sanem is feeling so tense, so awkward. It's just amazing to watch that. Anyway, she asks him if he's comfortable. He says, yes, harika. And then he asks her if she's comfortable. She says, yes. And then she turns around and is like, oh my god, what did I get myself into? So after watching the whole preview, I was like, okay, how did she get there? How did he get there? Where are Nihat and Mevkebe? I thought they don't like Can. How is he allowed to sleep over? There are so many questions. And then I'm like, okay, if they're sleeping together, how will they wake up? Will they wake up like in episode 13 or so when they were laying in the hammock? So she was kind of all over him. Or will they wake up like in episode 30 or so when he was all over her? And I can't wait to finally see the answer. And then last night we also got the trailer. We have Can and Sanem talking about, do you know what I'm actually looking for in a partner? So they're asking each other. And it seems to me that Sanem has a list with all the points that he likes in a woman. And she's trying to tick all those boxes. She's starting with sports, then she's cooking something, and then there's also this point where he says that he doesn't want for the woman to wait for him to invite her to dance, so she should also be able to make the first move. And that's what Sanem does. And then we also see this romantic dance happening, and I think it's going to be towards the end, but I'm so excited for it. I think next episode will be amazing. There's going to be a lot of Janam. So my general predictions for episode 46 is that I don't think we will get to see a kiss. Somebody will interrupt, because I have a feeling we still have to go through all the valleys until we finally get a kiss and for Janam to be together. And if I'm not mistaken, there are 7 valleys and we've only been through 4, so we still have 3 to go. So I think the first kiss will happen at the end of episode 48 or maybe in episode 49. But honestly, I like this tension. I like this build up towards their kiss, towards them finally being together, because in real life it doesn't happen that fast. And that's what I really like with Erkenci Kush, that it has a very realistic timeline. And it frustrates me to see all those people saying, well, I'm so bored of this series, blah blah blah, it was a horrible episode. I'm like, well, life is not always top. You have ups and downs, and that's what's happening now with Erkenci Kush. We're not in a very low moment. We're actually going up slowly but surely. We were at the lowest point in episode 39, and now we're at episode 46, and we're almost at the top. And people need to be more patient for the story to build. It's not everything about Janam. There are so many other storylines that need to move forward. And then all those people saying that Erkenci Kush is ending, I'm like, oh my god, guys, like, I'm so over it already. As long as there's no official statement from any of the official social media sites, I don't believe anything, and nobody should actually. I'm always like, just enjoy the moment, just enjoy this story, because those people who are complaining right now of Erkenci Kush being boring and I don't want to watch it anymore, they're the first ones that will whine and cry for Erkenci Kush to be over. over, and I'm like, well, it's only because of you, because you were so negative. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I had to get it off my chest. I'm really sorry. I don't want to attack anyone personally, but I'm just so over it, reading it over and over and over again. People asking, oh my god, I heard episode 47 will be the last. Oh my god, I heard episode 46 will be the last. And I'm like, oh my god, like, people, just chill and just enjoy Erkenci Kush. So yesterday was not only Erkenci Kush's first anniversary, but also Ayşe tweeted that she will leave Erkenci Kush with episode 47, and I'm like, oh my god, Ayşe, why are you doing this? But at the same time, I'm like, it shows me that the team is trying everything to keep Erkenci Kush going, and if it means to replace a writer, then so be it. Maybe they will come with fresh ideas, and I'm excited to see what is going to happen next. I don't see it as a negative sign. I see it as a positive sign, and I hope and think that this change will be a positive one. So yeah, that's all I had to say. If you're still watching, thank you very much, and sorry for the rant, but I had to get it off my chest. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what your thoughts are on episode 45. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click on the bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!